Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Faye Kwan. Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad, or MAHB, will be delisted from Bursa, Malaysia on February 25th. This follows the completion of a privatisation offer by the Gateway Development Alliance GDA Consortium.
Trading of MAHB shares was suspended today in preparation for the delisting after the consortium successfully acquired 98.68% of the company's issued shares. GDA consists of Khazanah Nasional Berhad, the Employees Provident Fund EPF, the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, and BlackRock's Global Infrastructure Partners. On February 12, the consortium proposed to acquire all MAHB shares at 11 ringgit apiece from dissenting shareholders, invoking Section 222 of the Capital Markets and Services Act 2007. The second Finance Minister Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah Azizan says the move aims to position MAHB for a future relisting at a higher valuation.
The Employees Provident Fund EPF did not suffer losses from transactions involving shares of Malaysia Airports Berhad MAHB. Second Finance Minister Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah Azizan says the sale of MAHB shares by EPF generated a total revenue of 102 million ringgit for its dividend distribution for the 2023 financial year.
Prestasi saham MAHB yang mengatasi indeks komposit Kuala Lumpur sebanyak 11.47% turut menjadi faktor utama strategi ini. Tuduhan bahawa KWSP mengalami kerugian daripada penjualan ini adalah tidak berasas. Dan ini jelas ditolak oleh KWSP melalui kenyataan akhbarnya pada 12 Februari 2025.
EPF posted a total investment income of 63.48 billion ringgit for the financial statement ending December 31st, 2023. It also declared dividends of 5.5% for conventional savings and 5.4% for Sharia savings.
The Home Ministry reveals that fake My Cards are being sold for 4,000 to 5,000 ringgit each, mainly to foreigners seeking employment and residency in Malaysia. Deputy Home Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Shamsul Anwar Nasara says the National Registration Department is monitoring the illegal activities and working with other authorities to tackle the issue.
Under Regulation 25(1)(e) of the National Registration Regulations 1990, offenders can face a fine of up to 20,000 ringgit, imprisonment of up to 3 years or both. The NRD is also running awareness campaigns, educating Malaysians on the dangers of using fake identification and urging the public to report suspicious activities. Authorities also urge the public to report any unauthorized offers of My Cards through the NRD's official complaint channels or by visiting any of its 210 branches nationwide.
The blueprint for the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, JSSEZ, will be completed by the third quarter of this year. The Economy Ministry says funding for the zone's infrastructure will be included in the overall development allocation.
The JSSEZ is an initiative by the Johor government to strengthen cross-border economic collaboration with Singapore. Its key objectives are to attract both foreign and local investments, enhance industrial capacity, and technological innovation while promoting sustainability. The Economy Ministry added that it was taking measures to ensure local investors were not sidelined and could actively participate in economic activities within the JSSEZ. This includes strengthening local supply chains, technology transfer, as well as providing skills training.
The Urban Renewal Act, which is expected to be tabled in the current parliamentary session, has been touted as an initiative for the government to redevelop old strata housing. Nischal Munyandi from Ideas discusses what the proposed act entails and the impact it will have on the growth of our cities.
It will lower the current consent threshold that is currently being enforced on strata title properties. because according to the Strata Titles Act 1985, right now, if there's any redevelopment of strata title properties, it needs a 100% consent from the owners, which is the phrase they use in the Act is unanimous resolution. So that means that if there are 1,000 owners on that development, if one owner objects or if one owner is not contactable, that means that the development or redevelopment cannot proceed. What the Urban Renewal Act, the URA, will do is that it will lower this from the current 100% down to something around 75 to 85%. This depends on factors like the age of the building and if the building is inhabitable and is safe for human habitation. This will put us on par with regional peers like Singapore, where it is 80 to 90%. And it will make it easier for the redevelopment of existing sites within the city itself for things like new development or for abandoned or derelict buildings to be reused or repurposed instead of them lying abandoned and empty. So the main concerns on the URA will be that ensuring that communities are able to stay together, and this will especially impact older folks, those who are living in older developments, because we want to maintain that sense of community, and to ensure that residents get a full picture on what redevelopment would entail. So this will mean them knowing what the redevelopment will be, what's the compensation that they will receive, and if they would incur any additional costs on items like maintenance.
Despite concerns about coercion and gentrification in the drafting of the Act, the government has assured that the process will be fair and transparent. Ms. Chal explains why redeveloping the urban core and inner city residential areas is crucial for sustainable growth.
Right now, we're seeing a lot of new sprawling suburban development in places like Cyberjaya, in Semenye, and some stretching all the way now to Tanjung Malim in the border with Perak. And what happens is that people live a lot further away from where they work, and that takes a toll, especially when you commute in. I'm sure you know that a lot of people who, when they commute in, they take 1 or 2 hours just to get to their jobs. It's not exactly very sustainable. One, on the environmental perspective, because when you build a lot of new suburban housing on the edges of our metro areas, that means you have to cut down a lot of forest areas. Another thing that it's also more financially sustainable to redevelop the inner city or existing urban areas, because with more dense development, more dense housing, 1 kilometer of road, power, water, fiber optic cables reaches more residents compared to, let's say, that same kilometer in a low dense suburban area. So from an environmental and a financial perspective, it is a lot more sustainable to redevelop both the urban core and inner city or inner suburban areas compared to continuing to sprawl out.
We'll be back with more after the break.
Kerap menggaru kulit kepala disebabkan keluh mumur, masalahnya lebih mendalam. Gunalah Head & Shoulders menembusi 5 lapisan untuk membasmi keluh mumur dan kegatalan. Bebas keluh mumur sehingga 100%. Head & Shoulders diuji secara dermatologi.
Penyasaran subsidi diesel di Semenanjung tidak akan memberi kesan kepada harga barangan keperluan di Sabah, Sarawak dan Labuan.
660 individu berusia bawah 21 tahun di Sarawak telah diberikan kewarganegaraan.
Sarawak kini menjalinkan kerjasama dengan Bank Dunia dalam menjayakan perdagangan karbonnya.
Welcome back. Hamas has handed over the bodies of 4 Israeli captives to the Red Cross in Gaza's Khan Yunis. This marks the first release of dead hostages since the ceasefire began last month. A Red Cross convoy transported the coffins to Israeli forces in Gaza earlier today. The bodies are currently at the Abu Kabir Forensic Institute in Jaffa, Tel Aviv, for formal identification. Among the dead were 3 members of the Bibas family, a mother and her 2 children, each aged 9 months and 4 years old. Hamas said the family were killed in an Israeli strike in 2023, but Israel has yet to respond to the allegations. saying it will only confirm their identities after forensic tests. Meanwhile, Hamas submitted a proposal to Israel for both sides to release all detained individuals during the second phase of the ceasefire agreement. Negotiations are set to begin later this week. US President Donald Trump says his administration is considering returning 20% of savings identified by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency initiative to help the American people. Speaking at a meeting of global financiers and tech executives in Miami, Trump adds that another 20% of the savings may be used to reduce the federal government's debt.
We've accomplished more in 4 weeks than most administrations accomplish in 4 years. On my first day in office, I imposed an immediate federal hiring freeze, a federal regulation freeze, and a foreign aid freeze. I signed an order creating the Department of Government Efficiency and put a man named Elon Musk in charge. Thank you, Elon, for doing it. He's a seriously high IQ individual. Now, he's got his faults also, I will tell you that. But not too many of them, which is now really waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse. And they're curbing inflation and saving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day. And there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions. And we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt.
Other than that, Trump said he will announce tariffs related to lumber, cars, semiconductors and pharmaceuticals over the next month or sooner. However, he did not provide further details. Since returning to office on January 20th, Trump has initiated numerous tariffs and made even more frequent threats to impose levies on imported goods. They range from broad ones, a universal tariff on foreign imported goods, to ones aimed at specific sectors, regions or countries in an effort to get others to meet his policy demands. Trump's threats have changed over time, leaving other nations and businesses unclear of what is to come next. Some economists and experts have warned Trump's sweeping tariffs will stoke inflation. US President Donald Trump's approval rating has dipped in recent days as more Americans worry about the direction of the country's economy, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll. The 6-day poll found that 44% of respondents approve of Trump's performance as president, slightly down from 45% in a similar poll conducted last month. Trump's approval rating stood at 47% in a January poll conducted in the hours after the Republicans returned to the White House. The share of Americans who disapprove of his presidency has risen more substantially, from 41% to 51% in the latest poll. The share of Americans who think the economy is on the wrong track have also risen from 43% to 53%. In the latest poll, only 32% of respondents approved of Trump's performance on inflation, a potential early sign of disappointment in the Republicans' performance on a core economic issue after several years of rising prices weakened Biden ahead of last year's presidential election. Trump defeated Biden's Vice President Kamala Harris in the Electoral College and narrowly won the popular vote. The Reuters and Ipsos poll, which was conducted both online and physically, surveyed 4,145 US adults nationwide and had a margin of error of about 2 percentage points in either direction. Now that report wraps up AWANI Tonight. I'm Faye Kwan. Thank you for watching and good night.